Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Very independent in the things that we do here. How you doing? Happy Wednesday. Woke Wednesday. A lot of stuff to get to. The economy. Look, more and more companies are now going, all right, here's the deal. Something's coming. It's going to be potentially ugly. And a quick reminder that the feds have never, ever, as we've talked about, landed the plane safely. They don't even hit at the Mendoza line. For those of you who are older, understand baseball. There's a certain line in baseball. If you hit below that, it's called the Mendoza line. You're basically awful. Like, that's where pitchers hit. That's how bad they have been historically. And it's going to get worse. Now, how bad will it get? That's the question. I do not foresee a 2008 landing here. Don't see that at all. What I do see, though, is ugliness when it comes to certain parts of the economy, other parts of and it's going to be you're going to have parts of the economy. I think there's going to be some bloodletting, just some stuff falls apart. Other parts are because of supply chain, because of several other things that are going on. They're going to somewhat say okay, and the prices are going to be somewhat high. Axios had an article the other day that said, hey, get used to it. Get used to prices high. Some of these things aren't going back down. And part of that's on us. Let's remember, we love cheap goods. Hence the reason why we have sold our soul to the devil for 99-cent everything, because China can produce it with slave labor. And we're fine with that, because we don't want to pay X amount of dollars for something. We all love our disposable TVs. Your TV's disposable? Let's go back 35, 40 years. Chad? Yeah, Grandma? Can you help me with my TV? The thing went out. Yeah, okay. Like 8 people come over because the thing is, it's a TV inside of an oak cabinet or whatever, and it weighs 800 pounds. You get it, you take it to TV repair shop because it costs so much money. Now, your 75-inch TV, it's like, oh, man, it's not working. Throw it away. Let's go get a new one. We've sold our soul for that. Now, Biden understands there's a lot of trouble coming for him and the Democrats this year, and it's going to get uglier. And he can spin it however he wants to spin it, but the reality is, you can be clear, as you'll hear him say, which he really and rarely ever is, you're going to pay the price at the polls. And paying the price at the polls this year is going to mean 2 years of hell for him. And I know that, quote unquote, the other day he said, oh, yeah, I'm totally going to run again. That's what he told Obama. I'm totally running again. I'm like, I don't know. I think he feels he has to run because the person behind him, he knows, if I was to step away and say, I don't want to do this, and she took over and was the nominee, you could run anyone. And they're going to walk to victory. All that being said, the economy, ugly.
So let's be absolutely clear about why we have such high prices now. There's two reasons.
Okay.
First was COVID.
Okay, so it's
the way the
fault.
global economy works. If a factory in Vietnam makes computer chips and shuts down in Vietnam because of a COVID outbreak, it causes a ripple effect to slow down manufacturing in Detroit, where they need those semiconductors to build the automobiles. So because of the pandemic, we had disruptions in our supply of important materials.
Of course we did.
So prices went up. As I said, just look at automobiles. Last year alone, they accounted for 1/3 of all the inflation in America because the price went up because so fewer are being made. Automobile companies couldn't get the computer chips, and the price of automobiles skyrocketed.
So you guys clear on that? Is everybody clear on that? So first, it's the COVID. So that's one. Second.
And the second big reason for inflation is Vladimir Putin. Not a joke.
So none of it is him. But Americans don't feel that way. More and more Gallup poll. You go and look from the Gallup poll to NRC poll to, Pew poll. They're all saying the same thing. No, this is your administration. I was talking to my uncle yesterday, and he and I had vigorous debates. And he, very conservative. And as he and I are chatting, he's like, look, I can't blame everything on Biden. I said, no, I don't. I think a reasonable person can. I can't blame, just like I couldn't blame COVID on Trump. What I can blame on the administration is how you handle things. If you're given a situation, because when you run for president and you become president of the United States, you don't walk in there with a blank slate and going, all right, here we go. Whatever's going on, if it's good, can I keep it going? If it's bad, how do I get out of it? His policies haven't done anything, and in many cases made it far worse. Far, far worse. And we're still a nation that votes with our pocketbook. And this year, there's going to be, I believe, an epic bloodbath, for lack of a better term, when it comes to Democrats. And then you're going to have 2 years of a guy who is very elderly, struggling on a daily basis, who's going to have to fend off question after question about his son's involvement in everywhere from China to the Ukraine to missing this, that, and the other. His brother and son receiving gobs of cash left, right, and center when it comes to their dealings in these foreign nations. And more investigations about investigations that were done on Republicans and Trump. And so much of that is on his shoulders. And the way that he has reacted to, everything from Afghanistan, which everybody points was the start of a nightmare for him, all the way through to where we're sitting at this moment in time, where we've got Russia, Ukraine, and that nightmare that is going on. We'll touch on that in a second. We have got rising inflation, continuing to rise. Oil prices spiked, but people are asking questions. Why did we not continue to pump, and try to do things? Some of that is on the where prices were several, months ago and years ago. You go back a couple of years, it wasn't worth it for oil and gas companies to do the things that, they can do now and make a ton of money. But let's say I opened a well today that I saw. We drill, we find, it's great. It takes us a few months, but we're ready to roll. By the time we start pumping and getting stuff out of there, there's no telling where oil may be. It could be down in the 20s. Well, it's not worth it at that point. But we should have thought ahead. He's not only losing Republicans that were like never going to vote for him but couldn't stand Trump, so some of them held their nose. He's losing Democrats and the young, and most importantly, he's losing independents. And it's the economy, stupid. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. So much stuff to get to today. Lots of it. The nightmare is continuing in Ukraine, and yes, it has begun. We talked about it yesterday. The second wave of attacks.
We're outside of Zaporizhia in the southeast of Ukraine, and Russian forces are about 15 miles away from where we are here. And just about every man in every town and village in this region has gone to the front line to fight because President Zelensky says Russia's second advance has begun. Yeah,
the second advance has begun. Mariupol is getting absolutely flattened, and the last holdout is this manufacturing plant that they're trying to, basically bomb into submission. And the Russians are doing exactly that. God knows how many people are inside there for real. You hear all kinds of different numbers, but it's soldiers and women and children and some elderly people that are in there. And, people are calling it this is their version of the Alamo. This is the things they'll tell their kids in coming years of that last great stand that these people knew that they were going to die, but they were not going to go out with a fight.
They're saying that there's about 1,000 people at the plant that has been the focus of fighting there and is really the last stand, the last holdout there in Mariupol. And we understand that the fighters there, they are still defending the city. How long can they hold on? The answer to that question is we simply don't know. It's one of the reasons why the Ukrainians have been requesting assistance and more arms from Western governments who are willing to help.
Yeah, and Zelensky keeps saying this. Look, this war, we can fight it as long as we are armed. But when we lose those arms, as far as we use them and they're done, we can't fight anymore. You got 1,000 people in there. And the Russians keep saying, surrender, we're going to let you guys go, nothing's going to happen to you. Nobody buys that at all. Because who would? And apparently the Ukrainians have said, look, we will give up the plant and we will leave, but we need a third country to come in and essentially make sure that everybody gets out, not being handed over to the Russians, which you know is not going to happen because that's not Putin's MO. He may allow some of the elderly and stuff to leave, but I don't even know if that's going to happen. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. A lot of stuff to get today, some woke stuff. And this is going to be a little deeper today, rather than the usual hilarity about somebody who has a grundle, a twigs and berries, that thing, trouser trout. No, but identifies as a woman. This is deeper. And what's going on in the wokeness and how it's hurting Disney, and now the potential of Disney losing something in Florida that they've had since the 60s, that Walt asked for and got. He must be rolling over in his... Is he frozen? Is he frozen, Phil? Right? He's frozen, right? They froze him?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So he must be rolling over in his refrigerator. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Immigration as well. I spoke yesterday to Brandon Judge. He's the head of the Border Patrol Council, and what's going on down there and how the atmosphere is and the morale is. And it's not shocking. Not shocking at all. My Pillow right now. Here's something that is shocking. $109 normally for these towels, right? Incredible towels. Amazing towels. These aren't cheap towels that are costing you $1 somewhere and you use them and they're like this scratchy and lotiony and then they don't absorb anything. No, these are amazing towels. They're $109. No. Get rid of that. $39.99. That's right, baby. $39.99. Cotton grown in the USA. 6-day money-back guarantee. 1 year warranty. You're going to love these things. 6 towels. 2 big ones, 2 hand towels, 2 washcloths, tons of colors and sizes. Choose from. Super absorbent. You will not be disappointed at all. So what are you waiting for? Go to MyPillow.com/Benson. It's MyPillow.com/Benson. Save big, deep discounts on every MyPillow product that's out there. But these towels right now, normally $109.99. Yours for the low price of $39.99. You can also call 800-983-4975. Use code Benson to save big. Chad Benson Show.
Irreverent? Yeah. So what? It's the Chad Benson Show.
Removing the mask on flights and public transportation creates a worry that will only add fuel to the fire and increase the risk of cases and transmission in the community and ultimately hospitalizations and deaths.
Ultimately. Well, we better never do anything. Keep the mask on forever. Especially in the left-leaning, which is most of the newspaper world, minus a few, does wearing a mask, if nobody else does, really do anything? So the mask, they're not going to appeal it. They're going to save their appeal for later with the whole, Department of Justice saying, look, who's this judge, this evil judge who's got no experience? The bar said she was unqualified. They said she was unqualified because she didn't have a lot of legal experience. Okay. They didn't say she was an idiot. They didn't say she was a fool. They didn't say she was special, right? She was the knuckle dragger. But she's a Trump appointed a judge, and she got rid of the mask mandate, and the world's going to die. It's not going to die. And the ruling was a very narrow ruling on how she looked at this. So they're going to appeal it eventually. That's the way I look at it. Eventually. Because there's going to be some spread probably, and everybody's going to freak out. I continue to go back and look at the numbers and the things that matter more. Stop paying attention if you care about COVID and you're that terrified of it and anything other than hospital and death rates by COVID. Not that you're 900 pounds and you can barely breathe and you got yourself the sugars, but what are the sugars? Diabetes. The beaties, right? The beaties. Your body positive, even though we've had to take off some of your body. But real, like she's 87. She died of COVID. She was 87. So she lived 14 years longer than the average lifespan? Yeah. So if it's a 24-year-old in the absolute health of their life, the prime, and not one, but tens of thousands of dying on a daily basis, then whoa. But look at the numbers that matter. And so the people still freaking out over not having a mask, you can wear a mask. And if you wear it, by the way, if everybody wears a mask that doesn't work, or you wear a mask that does work, which one works best for you? Oh, yeah, I never thought of that. Because I keep looking on those airplanes, when people took their mask off, none of them were taking off N95s. They were taking off face coverings and face decorations. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet outside. You can tweet at me. By the way, speaking of that.
That's what I always do, and they never catch me. Ain't nobody gonna catch me.
She's fun. We're going to talk about her. Bought herself a couple homes. Yeah. Wait to hear what she paid for them. Bad Barbie. Baby. Whatever her name is. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It's getting ugly in Ukraine. The battle in Mariupol is just the thing that is going to be written in history books.
A new plea from inside the besieged city of Mariupol. The commander of Ukrainian forces there releasing a video saying they have only days or even hours left and telling the Washington Post, "We will not lay down our weapons." Ukrainian forces are dug in at the Azovstal steel plant, but the city council says over 1,000 civilians are also taking refuge.
Yeah. And God knows what that's going to look like. In the coming hours, potentially. By the time we get off the show, by the time we wake up tomorrow, you just don't know. Here in America, we live a much different life. I mean, we're kind of, look, the economy is in a wacky position. You got like the lowest unemployment in God knows how long. We can't find people to work at the same time. We've paid people to stay home. We've got states across the country are flush with cash, don't know how to spend it. You've got backlogs on things from pools to backyard gardens and everything in between. I went yesterday to get my I'm going to get one of my eyes LASIK because I wear one contact. And so Dr. King is going to do my eyes, King LASIK. He's like, yeah, we're just going to do that. We're just going to do one eye. So you don't have to have reading glasses. So your eye will adapt. It'll be fine. And they were supposed to open up in, I think, October of last year. Couldn't get anything. Couldn't get any of the stuff because it's all stuck in a ship floating around in a harbor somewhere. Then from there, by the time they started getting some of it, they couldn't find the workers to do some of the work. Then from there, once they started getting some of it, they needed some more. You're on a wait list. Then it was more workers. Couldn't find the workers. And then finally, when they got themselves ready, of course, you have to have inspections. They couldn't get those. Everybody's backed up. So they were supposed to open last week. You guys, this story's insane. So they're supposed to open last, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. And they've got those exit signs you have to have, right? Just in case. So they got these exit signs that they're like fogged glass, mirror, but it's got the exit with an arrow in red. One of those signs didn't have the arrow illuminated, so they wouldn't let them open. Ah, good God. So while they're fighting over there, trying to survive, we're here fighting over wokeness, craziness, right? Fighting over things that you just, scratch your head. You've got people who are saying, we're not laying down our arms. We're going to fight to the absolute death. Every man, woman, and child. We will not go. And you're hearing stories even before this in other parts of Mariupol where they have no ammunition, but they're running at the Russian soldiers with their guns. And what's our issue here in America? Well, wokeness.
X chromosomes. Here is Madison Cawthorn's definition of a woman.
Okay, so definition of a woman, Madison Cawthorn. He is the controversial Republican who about a month ago said that he gets invited to all these eyes wide shut parties and people are doing cocaine off each other. And then it's like, everybody's all, hey, name those people. And he's like, I don't know who those people are. So he's got a lot of controversy in him. So this guy's going to respond. And I say, guy, it's they. I'm going to go with they. He's got a dress on, sequency, he's got a beard, but he's wearing pearl earrings and lipstick and guy liner. But he's going to lay it out for us about, gender.
X chromosomes, no tallywhacker.
X chromosome, no tallywhacker. That's the definition of a woman, according to Madison Cawthorn, which, while right, while right, you've got, X chromosome, Y chromosome, and then there's no mabobber, no tallywhacker, right?
And this gives me a chance to talk about biological essentialism.
Made up.
First of all, it's not true. People have all kinds of chromosomes and all kinds of bodies. Women who've had hysterectomies, people born with certain conditions, but that's almost immaterial. Number two, it is a system of oppression. Gender is a hierarchy and a system of oppression. And the easier it is to define gender, the easier it is to keep the oppression going. It's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Obsession. It's like they're fighting a war that's not real because they like being victims. And just to let you know, there are 46 chromosomes in the human body, only 2 sex chromosomes that differentiates between male and female, according to, science and stuff. So what happens now? Well, a lot happens now. Got to fight that thing. I am of the opinion that in no way, shape, or form did Disney want to get involved or dragged into what's going on in Florida. What the Republicans have done has been extremely smart on their part, and it's also a perfect storm. You had parents at home with their children for the last year and a half pre this year, for the most part. Watching their kids in class being Zoomed, not happy about the way things were, feeling like the school and administrators were taking, and I'm not talking so much about the teachers. I think by and large, 90% of the teachers they're just doing their job. I'm talking in many ways about the political side of it with unions and the administrators and all their functions. And then you had the race in Virginia. And you guys remember the race in Virginia that was really, I think, Youngkin won because when he beat McAuliffe's biggest thing at the end was the way that he went after parents and schools. And Republicans jumped on that. Case in point, they've talked about CRT for a while. But it wasn't just about that. It was about this wokeness, hey, everybody's gay and, that's, everybody's this and everybody's that. You can have 25 different genders. And so they ran with it. It's been pretty damn good. It has been. And this is the place. It's a culture war in the schools right now. And parents are standing up and they're paying more attention because they were around the table going, oh, what are my kids learning? I know my mother was shocked to find out some of the stuff that my little brother Elijah was learning. She's like, no. Because when George Floyd happened, some of the stuff he was being taught, at the time he was 9. And she's like, no, sorry. And she just shut the Zoom. She goes, we're not doing this. So lo and behold, as DeSantis being the first really seizes on this, and you've seen now the copycats across the country because this is what you do. You mimic what somebody else does. It's a great way to raise money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The wokeness. And the battle begins. I don't think Disney wanted to be a part of any of the political stuff. They've already got enough issues, with their wokeness being overwoke. And then at the same time, they've got what's that new Beast movie, of Dumbledore from whatever, Fantastic Beast. They had to get out any gay references, by the way, for China. I don't see anybody picketing in front of the Chinese embassies anywhere. Disney got involved. And now Disney may pay a price. Why? Well, Disney's got something going on in Florida that's spectacular. Essentially, Walt, when he was alive and not frozen, because he's kind of alive now, apparently, in a frozen state, ready to be reanimated at any given time, well, he made a great deal with Florida.
Years before the Cinderella Castle opened, Walt Disney himself convinced Florida to crown his company ruler of this land, establishing the Reedy Creek Improvement District in 1967. But now Disney's independence is under the microscope in the wake of the company denouncing Florida's new law, the Parental Rights in Education Law, also called the Don't Say Gay Law by critics. Now, at this special session, Governor Ron DeSantis says lawmakers will consider stripping Disney's autonomy.
So think about that for a second. And it's something that DeSantis has really went after over the last several weeks because of the insanity of the employees at Disney. And the CEO, I don't think, wanted to be involved in a lot of this stuff. He tried to, when he came in, the new CEO, essentially make it, hey, guys, we want to be apolitical. We don't really want to get involved in certain things. If you guys want to take a stand in certain areas, that's fine. But they're demanding Disney take a stand as Disney, and he got involved. Next thing you know, stuff's getting leaked where it's like, hey, everybody gets to be gay, and our characters are all going to be gay. That's what it's going to be now. And everybody on the call is like, oh, all my kids are transgender. And you're just like, whoa, slow down. Even Ted Cruz chiming in.
I think there are people who are misguided, trying to drive, Disney stepping in saying, in every episode now they're going to have, Mickey and Pluto going at it. Like, oh, really?
Thank you for that image, Senator.
But it's just like, come on, guys. Like these are kids, and you could always shift to Cinemax if you want that. Like, why do you have? It used to be, look, I'm a dad. Like, you used to be able to put your kids on the Disney Channel and be like, all right, something innocuous will happen.
Yeah. Well, no. Now it's all about, well, quite frankly, it's all about the wokeness for Disney. I mean, over the last year, they've had to, what are we going to do with Captain Hook? Because, we can't be ableist. He's got a hook. I'm like, are you kidding me? Ursula, she's the portrayal of a larger woman, a woman of size, is wrong. These are things they're really talking about. And this is no way to run a company. And now they've got to the point where they're pissing off Your wokeness is going to cost you potentially tens of millions, hundreds of millions, maybe over a lifetime, billions of dollars. And this needs to stop. It does. If you're the CEO of Disney, how do you not stand up and say, look, guys, all of you have a voice. That's fantastic. We here at Disney, we want to be inclusive. But the reality is, it is still a business. It is still a business. And we're going to run it like a business. That's it. And if you don't like it, you can go somewhere else. You can. Because all too many times, the people who are working in this wokeness, if they're in a position where they don't really care a lot about what they're producing. They don't watch a lot of this stuff. The people who do, well, the everyday average, cisgendered people, they're not into whatever it is that you're trying to push. And you want to be woke, you're potentially going to give away your special dispensation of basically saying, we are the purveyors of all that we see here in this part of Orange County in Orlando, and that is that. This is our own fiefdom. And now, because of your wokeness, your insanity, you're allowing the people to run wild in your name. You're going to pay a price that may cost you hundreds of millions and over a lifetime, $1 billion+ in tax revenue. Was it worth it being woke? I don't think so. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. If it smells, you got to fix that. How do you do it? Simply. Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifiers. That's how. You don't want the stank in your life. Get the stank out. And it's with Eden Pure. Right now, you're going to save $200 on the Eden Pure OxyLeaf 2 Thunderstorm. So these things are amazing. You get 3 units, and you use code CHAD3. It's the number 3. So you go there, put it in, EdenPureDeals.com, code CHAD3. What do you get? You get 3 amazing, easy-to-use, plug-in-the-wall, directly, nothing to do, right in the wall, no filters needed, ever, and away it goes. And within moments, the smells are gone. Smoke, litter box, somebody cooked fish in the microwave, whatever it is, gone, gone, gone. Stuff that you thought you couldn't get rid of for years, that smell, gone. All because of Eden Pure. Save $200 right now with your 3-pack of amazing Thunderstorm 2 from OxyLeaf and Eden Pure. How do you do it? You go to EdenPureDeals.com. That's EdenPureDeals.com. Put in discount code CHAD3. You're going to save $200 right there. That's EdenPureDeals.com. Use the discount code CHAD3 to save. Shipping is free. EdenPureDeals.com. Chad Benson Show.
If you like talk radio like Chad Benson likes his meals, you've come to the perfect place for takeout.
I want you guys to understand something. I am not proud of what happens a lot here in America. I'm proud of who we are and this experiment in democracy and freedom. I am proud of many things. And there are things that we can look back in our history and go, that is a black eye, a stain on who and what we are and believe. And this is another one.
That's what I always do, and they never catch me. Ain't nobody gonna catch me.
You know who she is? Danielle Bregoli. She's 19 now, but 5 years ago she was on with Dr. Phil. And, I'll just let you guys just listen to it and reminisce and remember.
That's what I always do, and they never catch me. Ain't nobody gonna catch me.
Because you're too streetwise?
Yup. And all these hoes laughing like something funny.
She's talking about the audience, that they're laughing at her.
Did you say the hoes are laughing?
Yep.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes?
Yep. Catch me outside. How about that?
Huh?
Catch me outside. How about that?
Catch you outside? What does that mean?
What I just said.
She parlayed that into, now here, look, she could be the greatest ever marketing person in the history of forever, and then some. I don't know. What I do know, though, is let's walk through her house, shall we? She lives in Boca Raton, and she's got a picture in front of her new house, standing in front of her brand new Bentley as well. That's right, I said Bentley. She's 19. It's a modern 2020 completely redone estate. It's located in Palm Beach County. Acre of land, 2-story guest house, just in case. Hurricane impact windows and porcelain tiles throughout. The $6.1 million home that she cashed me outside. It's 9,200 square feet, 7 bedrooms, 7 bath, and she paid cash for it. It's just up the street from her $3.75 million home that she also paid cash for, but she's trying to sell that one now. It has things like smart home throughout, so you can just talk to the house. Billiard and club room, dry sauna, wine storage. 1.5 billion streams, about 32 million combined YouTube and Instagram, and she made $1 million when she turned 18 on her OnlyFans page, and it's continuing to grow. Shame. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You know what, baby? Happy Wednesday. So much to get to. Yesterday, sat down for a little bit, spoke about immigration. Brandon Judd. I'm sure you guys know who he is. He's basically the head guy. He's the lead dude for the Border Patrol, right? So, I mean, you're talking about the guy that is the speaker, the voice of the men and women that are out there on a day-to-day basis for the Border Patrol. He speaks for them. He's their mouthpiece. He is the president for the National Border Patrol Council. And first thing I asked him about, and again, yesterday we sat down and had a good conversation, and he is very, very busy, but he loves just talking about and fighting for what he sees as ridiculousness across the board in what is going on out there right now with our men and women at the border. And you and I, listening right now, we've had our conversations about it. I have friends who are Border Patrol agents. I live at one of the hubs, not in the hub itself, but where I get off the freeway. If you turn left and go about 150 yards, there is the Border Patrol headquarters between Tucson and Phoenix. And it is massive. That's why most of the people that live around me full time, and we had a lot of snowbirds, but they're kind of going home. Thank God. Could you drive slower? It's possible. But they've told me it sucks. It's horrible. It's awful. It's the worst it's ever been. So I asked him, I said, Brandon, not just here, but across the board. What's it like? What's the morale like?
We're all completely defeated. I had Senator Hagerty out in the Rio Grande Valley in Texas just a couple weeks ago, and we went to a pre-shift briefing. It's what we call a muster. That's where you get your assignments, your intel for the day to help you do your shift. We were out there. Normally, at a regular muster, there's a lot of camaraderie, a lot of joking, a lot of talking, happiness. People like working with their fellow agents. We went there, and it was just silence. Everybody's head was down. We're beaten down. We're defeated. We know that we can't do the job. We know that everything that we do doesn't mean anything. All we're doing is welcoming people into the United States rather than taking them into custody and ensuring that they're returned to their country. This administration's policies and programs they've invited this. They're allowing this to happen. They've invited it to happen, and it's very frustrating to all of us.
Yeah. And one of the things that is becoming more and more evident, even CNN had a big thing on this morning. I'm flipping around, I go through several different things because I like to watch shows, want to see what's going on in the background, the world, how people are presenting certain things. And CNN had this big headline that says several prominent Democrats are breaking ranks with the Biden administration over immigration. How could you not? Records number in March since October. That's the start of the fiscal year. They said maybe 1 million people. What? Oh, boy. Yeah, I know, Mick. That's not sustainable. It's not. And the thing that is baffling to me is the ignoring of it. It is. I mean, COVID, I couldn't blame Biden for. I think his rhetoric at times, just like Trump's was ridiculous. I think his response was slow. I think he really didn't live up to any of the hype that he was bringing in. Because I think a lot of people thought, well, now we got an adult, right? And this guy's going to take care of everything, and we're going to get through this COVID, and it's all going to be. And it really wasn't. It was the fact is, Omicron pretty much got us through COVID because it was like having a cold, and the majority of Americans, in some way, shape, or form, came in contact, caught it, whatever it was. So that was not a win for him. Afghanistan, an absolute debacle. His handling of inflation, the energy issues that are going on, and even times I can look at him in Ukraine and I say, I'm glad you haven't got us to a point where there's boots on the ground. That being said, you haven't done enough, and you're continuing to struggle with that. But when it comes to immigration, there is zero plan. Title 42 goes away. The plan after that is zero plan. Title 0 for we got no ideas. But also the way that he's ignored it has been fascinating. More from Brandon Judd, who's the head Border Patrol president of their national council.
But if there's only one thing,
and I asked him, I said, dude, and it's funny because I asked him this, I think we were visiting our buddy Sergio and KURV out there in McAllen. And we were there several years ago, and Brandon took us out. I think Brandon was still a guard at that time, but he got to the point where he had been so outspoken. I mean, he was a Border Patrol agent at the time. He had become so outspoken that the Obama administration didn't know what to do with him. So, they weren't going to crack down and get rid of him. And I asked him several things, but I always ask him, all these Border Patrol agents and people, hey, if you got one thing that you can do, you can wave a wand, and you get something that you think can help you at this moment in time today, that will be the biggest helper today, what is it?
But if there's only one thing right now, if this administration is going to continue doing what they're doing, and you ask me what is the one thing that we need civilian processors so that we can be in the field. There's no reason to have law enforcement doing administrative duties like what we're doing today. But again, the fact remains, this administration knows what it needs to do. They won't do it, and that leads you to believe that they want this chaos.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, if anybody else has an idea, if you think that they're going to get more votes, I have news for you. A vast majority of the Latino community, and that's really what we're talking about. I mean, you could talk about, we're going to let in 100,000 Ukrainians. Well, there's a reason for that. Politically, we have failed them because we promised to protect them, and we really have given them weapons, but we didn't stand up, I think, the way that we thought. And a lot of that has to do with Russia. I think if another nation that was not nuclear would have attacked Ukraine, we'd have been all over it. The other thing is a majority of people who are coming here are Catholic, not woke, pretty damn conservative. So when you see the Latin community, the Hispanic community, the Mexican community, the Honduran community, whatever it is, my grandfather was this way. My grandfather was very religious, as was my grandmother. Super uber conservative. really, born and raised in Mexico, came here the right way, and never forgot about that, loved this country. But he was like a staunch Reagan Republican, and he never bought into any of this stuff. And I think you're finding out, yes, the second-generation college-age kids may be more liberal, but at home, no. So they're not getting that support. I don't know what it is, but I've never seen an administration ignore something that we've always joked about. They all ignore it in actually solving it, but rarely do they ignore it, right? They like the fact that they can raise money off it. They like the fact that there's a battle to be had there. They like the fact that they can talk about DACA or drugs and all these they like all of those things. And to them, it's not broken in that way because it's something to talk about. But he didn't even do that. And you knew it wasn't going to work when he put her in charge. And by her, I mean the vice president. Because Captain Giggles was never going to finish this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Speaking of another border that is besieged, God knows how many. They have moved so many soldiers and artillery into Ukraine right now. And it is looking like what people have said. This is the second real huge wave of attacks. It has begun, and it's going to get ugly. It's like I said yesterday, and I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, it's weird to say that we're going to have a war-like scenario where we have tanks in fields facing off against other tanks. It's something that was reserved for black and white in World War II on the Military Channel and History Channel, not in modern times. And this is where the Russians are going to have a massive, massive advantage. And the first thing they're going to do is they are going to unload on Mariupol and what is left. And they've got a small group of people that some people are saying this is their Alamo that is making that stand.
They're saying that there's about 1,000 people at the plant that has been the focus of fighting there and is really the last stand, the last holdout there in Mariupol. And we understand that the fighters there, they are still defending the city. How long can they hold on? The answer to that question is we simply don't know. It's one of the reasons why the Ukrainians have been requesting assistance and more arms from Western governments who are willing to help.
Yeah, and we're going to have a new package for them. We're going to have a new package for them sooner rather than later. On top of that, we're training them, and that is something because some of the stuff that they're requesting and we're starting to give them is a step up.
The next step we're going to see is more and more training on more sophisticated weapon systems that the Ukrainians need in this new phase of the warfare, but that training is going to take place in countries outside of Ukraine.
Yeah, so that's good news, but for Mariupol, it's too late. And the Russians have said if they surrender, nothing will happen to them. Nobody buys any of that because it's Russia. And we know what Russia has done in wars past, and we know what they've done in this war. So if there was to be a surrender, they have asked the Ukrainians, okay, if that was to happen, we need a third-party neutral country to come in and to organize the escape and the release of everybody and allow them to get out of there. Which, even at that point, do you buy any of it? No, I don't think so. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. My dog Doodle, I love. We talked yesterday. There's a dog that is 21 years old. He's now officially the oldest dog living right now. And his name is Toby Keith. 21 years old. I'm like, looking at Doodle, I go, Doodle, it's going to take a while. You can get there, buddy. You can get there. If he does, it's going to be because of Rough Greens. Rough Greens kept him alive much longer than he should have been. Vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega 369. Sprinkle on top of your dog's food, and away it goes. And it is definitely gone well for Doodle. Go well for your dogs as well. Right now, they're offering you a chance to get Rough Greens for free. That's right, free. How much? Free. Say it one more time. Free. All you have to do is cover the cost of shipping. You're not paying for anything else. ruffgreens.com/Chad. Ruffgreens.com/Chad. Go there, pay for the cost of shipping, get a bag for free, put them to the test. They're putting their money where their mouth is. You won't be disappointed. You can also call 833-MY-DOG-77. 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better.
Podcasts are American as hot dogs, apple pie, football, and sushi.
Oh my goodness. No.
Okay, maybe not sushi. Next time you have a craving for something sweet and tangy, download a Chad Benson Show podcast.
Boy, that is good. It's different because you get a little bit of saltiness. It's so good because it's sweet and salty at the same time.
Get a taste on iTunes, iHeart, or Spotify and binge to your ears' content.
Oh, yeah.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
All right, let's find out what's trending on the old interwebs. And there's lots of goodies trending. Start over in the Google world. 420 trending today. Why? Because it's Weed Day. Oh. Talk about that in a little bit. Johnny Depp, if you guys haven't heard, he took the stand yesterday, and it was... wow. I think it's the best way to describe that. Just this whole thing with him and Amber Heard. If there are two people who were so wrong for each other, it was these two. It was. Ezra Miller, who plays the Flash, was arrested for a second time. This time apparently wouldn't leave a lady's house and threw a chair at her. How did they catch him? He's so fast. Because he's the Flash. Netflix, we're talking about this too. Their stock plummeted. They've lost subscribers for the first time ever. And they plan to lose more. And this doesn't also account for the fact that they lost almost 1 million subscribers in Russia as well. Oh, forgot about that. Abercrombie & Fitch. They have a new documentary out. And the people in the documentary, it's very, 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 hey, they're like, it's all about, it's racism and stuff. And you're just like, really? I just thought it was people who are beautiful and the clothes were made for those people only. It was essentially a place you could go stare at clothes that you could never wear. And the people who worked there, they were wearing them. And that was it. Head over to the magical world of Twitter where everybody fights and argues. More on Ukraine going on as the second phase has begun. And it's getting uglier and uglier. I don't think that's going to get better for quite a while. I just wonder, how long do we pay attention? That's going to be interesting. Because I don't know if we have the attention span for us isn't always great. I think you guys know that. Some of the other stuff, 420 also trending there. Greg Norman, the great golfer who's now leading the Saudi-backed golf league, is trending. We'll talk about some players are starting to make noises. They may want to go play in some of these tournaments. And if you do, the PGA is going to come after you and maybe suspend you. But if you're looking to make a lot of money and you got to take care of your family and they offer you stupid amounts, it's hard to turn down. Talk about that. So much more. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Who would have thought this? Well, anybody would have, if you were smart. realized at some point this was going to happen. It's not a forever thing where you continually trend in certain directions and you never have a bad anything, but it was a shock yesterday. Netflix did something it had never done before. Ever.
The streaming giant down 25% on Wall Street in after-hours trading after announcing its first quarterly subscriber loss in over a decade. Netflix saying more than 200,000 subscribers left the service in the first 3 months of the year.
Yeah, that's huge. Huge. Let me tell you how bad it is for Netflix. Okay? I'm going to give you guys this. Netflix trading $348 Tuesday, April 19th, 4 p.m. Currently, this morning, Netflix, $222. At one point, they were down to $216. They have lost $121 in value, 36%. Panic? Nah. Were they overvalued? Nah. Why? Well, there's a lot of reasons why. When Netflix came out, it was Netflix. You really didn't have a lot of choices. You know, you had your cable and stuff, and then Netflix comes out, and you were getting your DVD. You had Redbox. You saw this in DVD stores. But Netflix brought you the opportunity to stream and to also still get your DVDs at home. Hulu came along, offered something Netflix didn't, but none of the original content or the massive library that they had. So the library that they had from all of these other companies, from Friends to The Office to Seinfeld. What do I always talk about? What are those? Those are comfort food for people. People can go back and watch those over and over again. Still like them. Pick them up wherever they are. It's a comfort food. Cheers. You know, all of these things. Well, nobody else was doing this. So they had a massive library, very little competition, and they were killing it. Plus, they were producing, and they realized we can't live off of this. We need to produce our own IPs, intellectual property. We need to have our own stuff. We need to produce our own, but we don't want to do what the big people do, which was we don't want to give somebody some money, go look at the dailies every day, then go and take it in front of a bunch of groups of people and have them rate it, and then go back and tell them, no, they didn't like this. No, what we want to do is we want to give people artistic freedom. We're going to hand you $50 million to make a blockbuster movie, and in doing so, do whatever you want to do. However you want to do it. You got an idea, we like it, go for it. Times have changed, though. It went from being Hulu, who had some stuff too that also crossed paths, but didn't have as many intellectual property, but offered live TV, to everybody's in the game.
There are just so many players out there right now. And before this, Netflix was really the primary player. It had the biggest reach globally, but of course that is being threatened right now.
Yeah. Well, how's it being threatened? Well, let's go down the list. Still have Hulu. Now you've got Disney Plus. Ooh. You've got HBO Max. Ooh. Amazon Prime, who have way more money than everybody else. And then you've got the breakout, little here, little there, specifically for certain groups of people. Hey, I like Brit, so I get BritBox. Or I like this, that, and the other. Oh, no. Then along came all of the companies that owned all the original IPs, like Peacock and Paramount. Hey, these are ours. Why should we give them to you when we can just set up a website and have people stream our intellectual property and charge them X amount of money? And now you're competing with companies that produce the shows doing their own thing. And it is a battle that eventually you knew that things were going to have to change. Now, Reed Hastings, who's the guy who runs this little thing called Netflix, who, by the way, at one time was in Wayne Huizenga's office and offered him, Wayne Huizenga of Blockbuster fame, the opportunity to purchase Blockbuster for a whopping $1 million and was laughed out of the office. How'd that go for them? Yeah, well, I think there's one Blockbuster. Is it in Bend, Oregon? I think it is. If you want to go up there, they did a documentary about it. That's how ancient it is. So, but now he's trying to figure out, okay, how do I compete? What do I need to do? Because now you've got Tubi. And by the way, this doesn't even mention like Fox Nation. Oh, it's just a bunch of crazy right-wing Fox Nation people. Well, first of all, they've got some original programming where they've got some of their younger hosts that do some stuff that's a little bit different. You get some Tucker stuff. But you get all kinds of things, right? You can go watch Cops and a bunch of things that they've had in the past and are producing now. Oh, that's totally different. I would mention CNN Plus, but nobody's paying attention to that. Wow, what an absolute crap show that is. Crap show. So Reed is trying to figure out, okay, as a great leader, and he is. I think he's been a hell of a leader. How do I fix this? What do I need to do? What about advertising?
Allowing consumers who would like to have a lower price and are advertising tolerant get what they want makes a lot of sense.
So that may be the new one. Something cheaper, much, much cheaper, is the potential to watch advertising. You know, you got to sit through, like, because I have Hulu and I pay a couple extra bucks more so I don't have to watch the advertising. So unless it's live TV, then you're watching the advertising, which is good. I do the same thing for YouTube. So, but you can watch YouTube for free. Is that what they're talking about? It's a possibility because you've got to figure out how you change. It's the beauty of the world that we live in. Those who adapt will be fine. Those who don't will die. And I think they'll be fine, but the dominant player anymore, no. So, and they're going to have to make much wiser choices in how they spend money. We were talking, the showrunner and writer, Ryan Murphy, who's this big superstar that everybody fought over in the world of television. They gave him $300 million. Now he's done, Nurse Ratched, Glee, Hollywood, American Horror Story, just name a few of his stuff. And we're talking, The Politician, Scream Queens, Pose, Nip Tuck, all of these. So they gave him all this money. And $300 million. And what have they got for it? Nothing. So they're going to have to be wiser in how they spend money. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Speaking of, let's just keep it here in the theme of entertainment. Johnny Depp, I'm fascinated by this, is suing his ex-wife, Amber Heard, for as much as he is crazy and angry, she's as equally evil. I think we can all, if you followed any of this. And Johnny has had some substance abuse problems as well. So he's got some text messages out there that he has said, look, yeah, those were mine. And I had a lot of problems. And I'm very, very creative in my writing. But when he took the, he takes the stand, right? And this is a $50 million lawsuit. I think he's playing a character. It's fascinating.
I'm obsessed with the truth, and so today is the first opportunity that I've been able to speak about this case.
Producer Phil, that's a British accent, am I right?
Sure sounds like one.
Yeah, he's not done.
Nothing of the kind had ever happened, though the relationship, there were arguments.
There were arguments. Physical abuse they talked about. Did you beat her up? Did you hit her? Did you do anything horrible to her?
Never did I myself reach the point of striking Miss Heard in any way, nor have I ever struck any woman in my life.
It feels like he's, nor have I ever struck any woman in my life. For I do not know what I am doing up here, being cross-examined by a bunch of people who do not deserve to talk to me in the tone of voice that you are. This lady over here is obviously lying. She believes she's a queen that rules with Aquaman. I don't think that's real. Yeah. So this is a $50 million lawsuit. She is being sued by him. They've gone back and forth. They are not, this is that kind of couple you're like, this is, if these were regular people, cops would have been at their house all the time. And there is no doubt in my mind that there would have been some stabbings. There's no doubt. I can't believe you would say that, Chad. That's unpopular. It is not popular at all, actually. It's completely wrong. False. Your narrative is false. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. A lot of stuff to get to. Some more on immigration. We're going to talk a little bit about COVID, how many people are actually locked down in China, and what kind of effect is that going to have on you? And it's an effect. Don't think that it's not. I mean, you think that this whole insanity of what is going on with our, high prices, inflation, and of course we had the nightmare of the supply chain. It's going to get a lot worse. It is, and nobody's really talking about it. Touch on that as well. Healthy Cell. Like to get my sleep? Thank you, Healthy Cell. Sometimes in the afternoon, pretty much every day, I take one of my Healthy Cells. What is it, Chad? Well, it's ingestible gel. So think of vitamins, but instead of it being in a pill form, it's just a quick drinkable ingestible gel. Now I just kind of shoot it. Comes a little package, tear it off, suck it down, away it goes. It's incredible. It's got all the things I need. For the afternoon, helps with my brain health. It's awesome. It's called Focus. Gives me tons of energy. Works almost instantaneously. It's awesome. My body absorbs all of the stuff it needs, where with vitamins, your body really doesn't do a lot at all. It doesn't absorb any of it. And at night, well, thank goodness for that, because I'm sleeping better than I have ever slept. Thank you, Healthy Cell. Now is your chance to grab yourself some Healthy Cell. I want you guys to try it. You will not be disappointed. In fact, you're going to be like, this is incredible. What is it about? Well, it's about actually getting all the nutrients and vitamins you need in a real way where your body absorbs it. And that's what Healthy Cell does. Go to healthycell.com/Chad, healthycell.com/Chad. When you do, you'll save 20% when you use promo code CHAD right there off your first order. Healthycell.com/Chad, healthycell.com/Chad to save 20%. Chad Benson Show.
You stink like fear and white male privilege to me.
I do often out myself verbally as a gender. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm proud to be a gender.
Are you stupid?
What? Are you kidding me? Not a great way to use your white privilege.
Some people get it, some people don't.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
I was gonna clean my room until I got high. I was gonna get up and find the broom, but then I got high. My room is still messed up, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high.
It's 420 today. Adolf Hitler's birthday? Yes, but it means something different for the rest of the world. It means it's time to go out and smoke the wacky tobacco, the reefer, right? The crazy cabbage. How did we get 420? The story is, they've pretty much figured it out, and they've known for a while, and I'll retell the story as if I was there, but I wasn't. Goes back to 1971, San Rafael High School, Northern California. Shocker. 5 guys called the Waldos: Steve Caper, Dave Reddix, Jeffrey Knoll, Larry Schwartz, and Mark Gravich used to use the code word 420 because 420 indicated that school was essentially wide open. Extracurricular activities, right, were done. Then they would go and they would meet at a statue so they could go get high, and then they would wander out and look for this mystical place where marijuana was growing in ways that they could not believe, and it was everywhere out there in the old redwoods or whatever. But that was it. They used to use 420. They said they would pass each other in the hallways, and they would meet at 420. They'd say, hey, 420. 420. Oh, yeah, 420. That was their secret quote. The teachers didn't know about it. Parents didn't know about it. And they went right over to the scientist statue of Louis Pasteur, and they'd get So today, if you're wondering why the person next to you is having a tough week, is glazed over, he looks a bit out of it, but he's got a smile on the face, it's because he probably waked and baked to celebrate 420. Oh, jeez. Speaking of 420, let's keep it on that. After you smoke a little, you got to do what? Well, you got to eat because you got the munchies. Scientists at MIT, who've got nothing better to do, have figured out why you can't split an Oreo perfectly.
We found that if you split it perfectly, actually the cream will be all on one wafer and not at all on the other one.
That's it. Yep. So if it's a perfect split, it's not right down the middle with a bit of the cream on one side, bit of the cream on the other. Nope, it is not. It is actually, the perfect split is when the cream's on all one side of a cookie.
That time delay is enough that you have, like, the cream attaches much better to the cookie that first makes contact.
Ooh, I did not know that. Again, MIT, they had nothing else going on.
I think we went through about 20 boxes of Oreos. We had to try all the different kinds, all the flavors, all the different stuff levels, so that we could, like, actually do a rigorous study.
No, I'm sure you did. And then they got high, and then they got high. Ba-da-dup-dup-dup-dup. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Where else are you going to hear that? I gave you Oreo splitting and the origins of 420. Come on now. I don't know if I can win an Emmy, but I probably should get one. That's all I'm saying. It's well-deserved. An Emmy for everybody. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The war is raging on. It's getting uglier. We've talked about that throughout the show. Last couple of weeks, the second phase has begun. And the second phase of this administration is getting ready to potentially face, and that is the absolute massive ass whooping that potentially could be facing them, and more than likely, based on where we are today, come November. This administration is going to have to deal with the fact that Afghanistan started your downfall. The handling of COVID was all over the place and became just as divisive in many ways under you. Inflation, stagnation, failed border policies, and an economy that is, nobody's really sure. It feels like we're heading towards a recession. Like to think not. I don't want my president to fail. And then on the other side of that, I can't blame everything on him. But what can happen when you're a president is you can take a bad situation and make it better, or you can take a bad situation and make it worse. And I feel that people are looking at him much like I am and going, you've made a lot of this stuff much, much worse. And you got to figure out how to blame. And when I listen to Biden, who's still the president, and I hear him talk, I don't even think he believes a lot of what he's saying about the economy, how things are going as far as who to blame. Look, you got to applaud him. I look at the unemployment rate, historically low. I also look at this and say, energy prices through the roof. Inflation at its highest point since the early 80s. We're energy independent, but we're not oil independent, which is the thing that we really rely on the most. And let's not even forget about the border, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But he was discussing the economy because we are a pocketbook voting country in so many ways.
So let's be absolutely clear about why we have such high prices now. There are two reasons. First was COVID. The way the global economy works, if a factory in Vietnam makes computer chips and shuts down in Vietnam because of a COVID outbreak, it causes a ripple effect to slow down manufacturing in Detroit, where they need those semiconductors to build the automobiles. So because of the pandemic, we had disruptions in our supply of important materials. So prices went up. As I said, just look at automobiles. Last year alone, they accounted for 1/3 of all the inflation in America because the price went up because so fewer are being made. Automobile companies couldn't get the computer chips, and the price of automobiles skyrocketed.
Yeah, automobiles, portion of that's absolutely true as far as the inflation on the cars because of the chips and whatnot. And you could buy a car like my car that I bought two years ago, just over 2 years ago. I've got an offer from a local dealership I work for here. They're going to pay me more than I paid for it. I put some miles on it. So, but that isn't why your bacon is going up. That's not why your oil prices have gone up, and he's got an excuse for that. That's not why a lot of things have happened. And COVID did play a part, and it's about to get worse. We're going to talk about China and COVID here in a minute. But this is where leadership, you have to take some responsibility. Here's the thing about being a leader. You know, when I was younger, you don't be a martyr, right? There's a difference between everything's my fault and, hey, look, we have tried some things. They're not working. We're going to try some other stuff. We're going to push through and do the things that we think are best for the country, and you take some responsibility. We have gotten to the point where that doesn't happen in any politics anymore. Nobody stands up and say, I made a mistake. And if they do, it's only because it's the last thing before they go into rehab or spend more time with their family that they have to do. So the second thing is, so none of this is his fault. COVID was the first. What's the second?
And the second big reason for inflation is Vladimir Putin. Not a joke.
Oh, not a joke. Vladimir Putin. Absolutely. It's totally him. 100%. No. Look, the last 8 weeks, portion of that's true, but nobody buys it. And that's the other side. The Putin price hike didn't fool anybody, in particular independents who are going to swing this election. If you have a D by your name right now, you are going to have serious, serious issues. In the coming weeks, you're going to really start to see those ads flood the TVs. And in certain places across the country, you're going to be bombarded by radio and television ads from super PACs and everybody else who see the vulnerability, and also from PACs who want to see the Democrats hold on. I mean, here we've got a really tight race for Senate. Mark Kelly, who is it's like, he's beige. Like, it's the best way to describe him. What's he like? He's like beige, right? It's like, it's okay. What has it done? I don't know. It's there's nothing about it. Couldn't. But he is got a war chest that is massive because Democrats know he's vulnerable, and the Republicans see that. That's John McCain's seat. and they're going to come get it. And the money that's pouring in, a majority of it, has nothing to do with people in Arizona. It's all from outside because they realize that what happens here will have an impact there. So big money, but it can't change the fact that he and his administration and his policies are going to be on the ticket. Oh, yeah. So blame Putin and COVID all you want. And yes, they've had an impact. But when you look at the numbers, a majority of Americans still say your policies played a big role in this. Your policies where you've come out and you've said, and some of this goes back all the way to Obama, do everything in our power to make sure that the coal industry and the energy industry is going to be too expensive for people to afford. And you're wanting to push this dream of green energy, which is fantastic. I like alternative energy. You want to call it green, whatever it is, on people. Great, fantastic. Let's all get there, but let's get there eventually. And by going out and saying, hey, we're going to get rid of we're going to make it impossible for you to get onto federal land and then to go and to pump and drill and pump and drill. We're going to put every obstacle in your way. And even if you do get to the point where you've got the lease, we're going to sue you and we're going to put every environmental impact in front of you can. You're going to be going over stuff. Well, then all of a sudden oil goes to the roof and they're like, yeah, you can drill on federal land. But it's too late now. And people go, that's your policy. Even if it wouldn't have made the biggest difference in the world, the Keystone Pipeline and several other things, your policies at the beginning, people are going, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. 323-538-2423. Wait a minute, my eggs are higher because my used car is more expensive? Yeah, you didn't know that? That's the correlation. It's the used car egg correlation. It's pretty amazing the way that works. And also, if you're let's say you're buying a new car and that's more expensive, because of bacon. What? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he knows either. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from you. Mariupol under attack. Ukraine is doing everything they possibly can, but the reality is it has begun and it's going to get ugly. And in a weird way, it's going to be somewhat ancient. It's the best way to describe it. If you can look at the 1930s and 40s, late 30s and mid 40s as ancient when it comes to fighting and good old-fashioned tank battles, but it is now begun.
We're outside of Zaporizhia in the southeast of Ukraine, and Russian forces are about 15 miles away from where we are here. And just about every man in every town and village in this region has gone to the front line to fight because President Zelensky says Russia's second advance has begun.
Yeah. They need more. That's what they're asking for. What are you asking for? More. When? Now. More. We need as much. As much as you can give us, give it to us. As much as you can, give it to us. If you think you've given enough, find more. One thing we are doing is this is becoming a new phase. It's not that guerrilla warfare. Mike Lyons on earlier this week. We've touched on it throughout this entire campaign. Getting into a city that you're unfamiliar with, you know nothing about, as a force that has no cover, and a guerrilla force, an army and military that is well armed, you're sitting duck. And that's what you saw in Kyiv and several other cities that were further away from the supply lines, that they were done. I mean, they're using their phones for navigation. But here's something else creepy. I don't know if you saw this, Phil, but they're using facial recognition on all the Russian soldiers' dead bodies and faces, so they can find out who their family is and call them back in Russia.
I did not see that.
Yeah, that's creepy. That is creepy. But now with the new phase, this isn't guerrilla warfare. This isn't urban tactics. This is wide open. My army and military is bigger than yours. So this is where the Western countries and the free world is going to have to step up.
The next step we're going to see is more and more training on more sophisticated weapon systems that the Ukrainians need in this new phase of the warfare. But that training is going to take place in countries outside of Ukraine.
Yeah, because they're going to need more sophisticated weapons to take on what they're going to be throwing at it. And Mariupol is just it's the last stand of some 1,000 people and soldiers who are being bombarded in a manufacturing plant that is massive. And some people are calling it the Alamo of Ukraine, for our reference. And it's horrible. It is. And it's about to get a lot worse. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Woke Wednesday. We'll have some woke stuff coming up for you in a little bit. COVID nightmare in China continues. Wait to hear how many people are actually under some sort of COVID lockdown, and why what's going on in Shanghai is going to be another supply chain issue here in America. 323-538-2423. Yes, kids, it is called Eden Pure, and they have the most amazing air purifier around. It's the OxyLeaf 2 Thunderstorm. It's fantastic. It's incredible. Plugs right into the wall. No filters to use. You're going to get a 3-pack. You're going to save $200 by using code CHAD3. And how this works, you just plug it in. And within minutes, the smells that were there, the stink, the stank, the stunk, gone. Awesome. Smoke, my house, father-in-law passed away, smoked a lot, you would never know. Maybe you've got litter boxes or animals, or maybe it's a place that you're moving into and it wasn't taken care of very well and it just stink. Maybe you got a kid like my kid who plays hockey and his hockey stuff's everywhere and it just stinks. Guess what? Stink be gone. How do you get this amazing, incredible thing? Over 150,000 sold. No filters. Plugs right in. Super quiet. You go to EdenPureDeals.com. Use discount code CHAD. You're going to save right there. Boom. CHAD3. CHAD. The number 3. $200 saving. EdenPureDeals.com. Get a 3-pack. Save $200. Use promo code CHAD3. EdenPureDeals.com. Use promo code CHAD3. Chad Benson Show.
I usually don't get into politics. As an ordinary suburban housewife, I feel a little disrespected. I teach my children not to name call.
You are a blabbermouth!
Come on, man.
Guys, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum?
Chad Benson.
I went straight to what I had learned as a youth, which was to remove myself from the situation so that it couldn't continue.
Johnny Depp. I shouldn't laugh because he's on the witness stand, and he's a $50 million lawsuit against his ex, Amber Heard. But it's just the acting. It feels like it, right? And he's got the accent. Don't know what's happening. Something about this is undeniable. I look over at her and I see somebody I once loved. But that person does not love me anymore. That person themselves does not. Because that person there thinks that I'm wrong.
I was suddenly just wrong about everything.
Everything. That's right. Then it gets weird. So here he is, right? I was wrong about everything. Nothing I said, did was right. Then he gets into it about his mom.
I was sort of not allowed to be right, not allowed to have a voice. So at a certain point, when what enters your mind is you start to slowly realize that you are in a relationship with your mother, in a sense.
Okay. Yeah. It's hard not to look, right? It isn't. They're real people, but they're a real mess. Play a little bit more from that a little bit later, but it is it's a train wreck. And it's weird. It's this weird train wreck of people like, that's awful, but I can't not watch or at least listen to it because it's not people killing themselves and it's not crazy immigration stuff. No, instead, it's two people that should never have ever been anywhere near each other who married and had an awful relationship and then sprung it upon the world. I remember it was bad when, do you remember, was it Australia where they weren't allowed to bring the dogs and then they brought dogs? And it was this big to-do. And she was just like, well, do you know who I am? And I'm like, oh. But no, do you know who he is? It's Johnny Depp. Yes, indeed. Who would have thought that you were like, you know what? I think I'd rather be Nicolas Cage right now. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Coronavirus. What will they do? The masking is gone on airplanes. What will happen? Should I be terrified?
Removing the mask on flights and public transportation creates a worry that will only add fuel to the fire and increase the risk of cases and transmission in the community and ultimately hospitalizations and deaths.
All right, hold on. Let's listen to that again.
On flights and public transportation creates a worry that...
Creates a worry. Doesn't create a spread. There's no guarantee of that. You can still wear a mask. You and you and you and you and me and anybody else. But creating a worry is not the same of definitely creating a spread. Well, yeah, that's kind of true. So, again, what's it do?
Creates a worry that...
Creates a worry. Does what?
Creates a worry that will only add fuel to the fire.
Creates a worry that will add fuel to a fire. Doesn't create reality. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but doesn't mean it will. Oh, that's true. People are freaking out. Again, we went over that article yesterday where it's like people are like, oh, my God. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. I didn't know what to do. I'm on an airplane, and I didn't know if we were going to make it. I'm like, oh, my God, was there a plane crash? What was the heroic story of somebody being saved? And, like, in the middle of it, they announced that you don't have to wear a mask, and people took it off, and I didn't know how to react. Did you keep your mask on? Yes. Okay, then. Well, I don't know what else there is to say at that point. I think you did the thing you were supposed to do, if that's what makes you feel comfortable, right? But based on the numbers, it's not warranted.
We are heading to a better spot with this pandemic, but likely we're going to see increased cases because of this move. And unfortunately, that means hospitalizations and deaths.
No, unfortunately. Likely. It's likely, not for sure. It's likely going to happen. You don't know that. No, but it's probably going to happen. Maybe. There's no doubt that we'll probably have spikes here and there. I think Milwaukee, they masked the kids up in school. Philadelphia this week. Great. By the way, Philadelphia, the 76ers, for those of you guys don't know, they're a basketball team, and they're up 2-0 against the Raptors. They were at home, the Wells Fargo Center on, was it Monday, when it went into effect that you had to wear a mask indoors. There was 19,000 people there, and nary a person had a mask on. Because the COVID theater needs to come to an end. And we're lucky. We're fighting over, I don't want to wear a mask on an airplane, which is the reason I haven't flown for the last few years. I'm not sitting somewhere for 6 or 7 hours. Phil, how long was your entire journey to and fro from the time that you got your, to the airport and all that stuff?
Oh, like 6 hours.
Yeah. I no. I mean, I hate wearing it for 30 seconds. Just, but I did it. But I wasn't going to do it for 6 or 7 unless it was absolutely necessary. Somebody across the country died, or I needed to be that. Outside of that, was just never going to happen. I'm not going somewhere, and I want to do that. I'm more apt to do it now, obviously. But that's our fight, and that's kind of been our fight. But we're the worst in the world. We're not the worst in the world. First of all, China lies. 4,600 deaths? Really? That's all you guys have had? I'm thinking that's a lie. India? We'll never know about India. Well, why would we know about India? There's 1.3 billion people in India. A majority of them do not live anywhere there's any technology or any way to keep records or to keep records at all, if they even do. So, no. Sorry. But China does crack down. Case in point, what's going on right now in Shanghai. I was telling you earlier, you'd be surprised at how many cities right now in China are currently under some form of lockdown. Originally, when the latest whatever's going on over there, second wave, third wave, I don't even know what wave they're on because they don't tell the truth, started, Xi said, look, everybody, you run your cities and your areas as you see fit. And then he came down even harder and cracked down. And so what ended up happening is he's super cracked down. Like Shanghai is like 26 million people. They're locked down inside their buildings. They're not going anywhere. There's boats with food rotting in it trying to get into port. There's boats that need to come to port to pick up stuff that's not even being made right now. The supply chain is about to get much, 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 much worse. It is. And there's no doubt that this is going to get worse. So what they're estimating, between 375 to 600 million, maybe more, are under some sort of COVID lockdown in China. Some being much, much worse than what you see in Shanghai, which is everybody stay inside, don't leave. And you do wonder, where's that breaking point? Is there one for the people? Because he cracked down on their economy and the growth of millionaires and billionaires and their freedom with that financial, cash boom that the people started to make. And so he wanted to reimpose the Maoist communist way on many of these billionaires and millionaires. And now you're talking about shutting people's lives down yet again, and you've taken away their freedom, and you're cracking down on their money. There's not a lot of places you can go. And he's hoping this year he's going to be president for life, voted in when the commies meet at the commie party. I can't believe you said that. I think it's later this year. And there's going to be some explaining to do, especially right now. And their economy's having struggles. But with that, coupled with Ukraine and what's happening over there, this is going to put more of a strain on our economy. I was in the store the other day, and there's no grapes. Half the shelves in certain aisles that, that stuff that you would get from China and stuff, just empty. I was talking to people in different parts of the country, and they're saying the exact same thing. It's like, man, you go into some of these places, there's nothing there. Some of it's because of that, others because of crime. Which brings me to this. Again, not a win for the president. Struggles. You don't be soft on crime. Nobody gets to be. You don't get to say, hey, guys, let's defund the police. Let's watch homicides go up. Let's watch rape go up. Let's watch violent crime go up, petty crime go up. And that'll be a winning way of securing our legacy. And you do that through woke DAs, right? George Gascon who's in Los Angeles, is in the midst of a recall. This is a gangbanger. I can't believe you said that. He is heard on a phone call within the prison, somebody else, bragging about George Gascon, the DA.
It's looking real good. Now we got a new DA in LA, so they're gonna. I got court on the 14th, fool, right there in Compton, Thursday. So they're gonna drop a gang of like my gun enhancement, my gang enhancement. My gang enhancement's 10 years, fool, for being a gang member, and then the gun and the commission of a crime. Gascon or where? I don't get that name on my face. That's a champ right there.
What? Yeah. So what did he say? He's going to get Gascon's name tattooed on his face because he's dropping a ton of stuff off of his murder plea. And in doing so, there's no enhancements. He's also going to get a limited time in prison because of a youthful offender parole. Max, he's going to get his 25 years for killing somebody. That's just crazy. It is. I can't. You hear the stories about Los Angeles, and I'm from there. And you don't realize how nasty it is anymore. Because I've been here for, 5 years almost, and I go back, I'm like, certain parts of this place, I just don't recognize. It's just nasty. Yesterday I went in to get my eyes, I'm going to get LASIK in one of my eyes because I do just one contact lens because the other one is so mighty. So I'm in there, and at King LASIK, great people, by the way. The lady because they just opened this week, there's been all kinds of, they were trying to get stuff open, there's supply chain, all these issues. So the lady that's running the office right now, really nice lady, she's from Portland. She's like, it's disgusting. I can't stand it. It's horrible. Went into Target the other night, kept asking people, hey, why is this shelf empty? She goes, I need to get socks for my kids. She goes, well, if it's that size, then it walked out of here because there's no way to prosecute it. You're like, what? Yeah. In fact, she said the lady was telling her, we used to call, but they've taken so many calls from us, they don't even do that anymore. They don't even take our call anymore. That's what woke insanity has gotten you. And the company is, Dr. King is in Seattle, and one of the doctor's daughter was working there up front, and she was telling me how disgusting and vile it is up there with poop and nastiness everywhere, and that one of their doctors came downstairs and there's a person sleeping in his car. And there was, trying to get him out, and just it was a mess. So when you allow insanity to run wild, and you push these crazy ideas of we can fix anything by love and hugs, it just doesn't work. You don't get somewhere by being soft on crime. You can be hard on crime and reasonable, but being soft doesn't work. And trying to fix it with love and hugs doesn't. This is the DA from Orange County, California, talking about things that don't happen in his county.
Oh, Dana. Oh, my God. It is so horrible. Let me make 2 points. First of all, gang members are not going to tattoo Todd Spitzer on their face, okay? Because we charge enhancements in Orange County, including gang enhancements and gun enhancements. So let's clarify that right now. Number 2, the gang members know absolutely that George Gascon is soft on crime. And they're using their young people to go out and commit these murders. Because of George Gascon, no one will do more than 25 years because, as you know, you can be 18, right, to go into the military, 16 to drive, 21 to buy alcohol. But in George Gascon's crazy world of chaos in Los Angeles, you're not responsible for your acts if you're under 25.
Insane. But true. Guy said, yeah, I'm going to get his name tattooed. That guy's the man. But he didn't say it like that. He dropped the N-bomb, which is racially motivated, and he's not black. What do you think of those apples? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Why can't you just go, look, you did something wrong. You're going to be punished for it. We're not going to overpunish you as we have in the past, but we're not going to let you walk free because we think that you're somehow disadvantaged, gives you the right to go out and hurt people, kill people, rape people, steal all their property. It doesn't excuse you from the laws of being, first and foremost, a citizen or a resident or somebody here in the laws that we have in this land, and secondly, as a human being. 323-538-2423. Humans are weird. That's why I love animals. Got my dog Doodle. Getting older, but somehow staying younger. And it's because of Rough Greens. This is supplement I give him. It's got vitamin, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9. All this incredible stuff. Right on top of his food. I sprinkle it every day. Give it to my puppies as well. Gives him energy, keeps him happier, healthier than he's ever been, and I love it. It's helped with his joint pain. It's helped with his digestive tract. He doesn't have any allergies with skin problems when he had in the past, and it's all because of Rough Greens. Right now, they want you to try it before you buy it. You go to ruffgreens.com/Chad. Ruffgreens.com/Chad. You cover the cost of shipping. They're going to send you a bag absolutely free. If you love your animals like I do, try it now. You can also call them direct. 833-MY-DOG-77. 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Hashtag me too. Hashtag immigration reforms. Hashtag help. I'm trapped in a hashtag factory and I can't get out. The Chad Benson Show.
I stayed because, of course, I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to hurt anyone, especially Miss Heard. I didn't want to break her heart.
Johnny Depp on trial. We were talking earlier, his accents and all of that stuff. Some sort of obsession about his mother. It's just, it's so weird. And you're watching it and you can't. I'll turn around and he's on. I'm like, well, I should listen to a little bit of it. And you're, craziness. But you're watching it live. Right? These are people who are famous, but they're as dysfunctional and as insane as the rest of us. I think we always need to remember that. Actors in particular. They get to play pretend, run around, do those kind of things where pretend is, to them, it's great. They're LARPing for a living. But that comes at a price. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Netflix struggling big time.
You may have a Netflix account, but do you let more than family members use it? Soon that could be tougher to do. The streaming service is cracking down on password sharing in the face of some staggering losses. About 200,000 subscribers in the first quarter, the first loss of that kind in more than a decade. The company says it has 222 million subscribers with more than 100 million households sharing passwords. The announcement caused Netflix shares to tumble Tuesday.
Yeah, they did. They're going to try to figure out a way, obviously, to get rid of the sharing of passwords, but they said they're still a year away from that. A year away from actually having it down where sharing of passwords, and I don't even know how you're going to pull that off. I don't. But the loss of 200,000, that was a big blow for them. And that didn't count the 700,000 that they lost because of what's going on in Russia and the fact that they are not showing anything and they've killed those subscribers over there as far as their access to it, unless you have some sort of way of getting around it. But it is that's big. It's big. And now they may offer you an advertised version where you pay less or nothing, be able to watch stuff, but you got to sit through ads. Times is a-changing, kids. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Fun show today. A little wokeness, a little immigration, a little bit of COVID, a little bit of economy, a little bit of Johnny Depp, bad Barbie in her new house, or baby, whatever the hell her name is. Good God, we did a lot. We'll do even more tomorrow. I promise you that. If you missed any of the show, grab the podcast. Have a blessed rest of your day. We got you over the hump. Night, Jack.
This is The Chad Benson Show.